Now at 10, recent changes to test scoring in the Sooner State have some schools left confused. Plus, the city of Parsons gives a helping hand to the community's veterans. And Paint the Town Red kicks off to a rainy start in Pittsburgh.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Kansas authorities investigate an officer-involved shooting. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Anthony Saviello. The incident happened yesterday just after 3 p.m. near 4th Street and Poplar Place in Coffeyville. Officers stopped a Ford pickup truck driven by Derek Trotter, who was connected to an active investigation. While officers tried to detain Trotter to serve a search warrant, he began to struggle. Officers deployed tasers, but with no effect. One officer then pulled their firearm and fired 3 rounds, striking Trotter. EMS transported Trotter to an area hospital where he was pronounced deceased. No law enforcement officers were injured in the shooting. We'll go to weather with Lindsay Gaffney. We'll check in with meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney for a first look at weather.
Well, we've got a couple of isolated showers and thunderstorms dropping heavy rainfall. So just south of Pittsburgh, you can see flash flood warning has been issued in a couple areas surrounding our location. Those storms do continue for the next couple of hours. You can see most of the rain showers have just been sitting over the same areas, starting to dissipate. So we're seeing pretty light showers through the rest of the evening, clearing out for the next couple of hours in the overnight hours. With the rain, we did see a drop in temperatures though. So yesterday getting up to the upper 90s, overnight lows still remained in the mid 70s, so still a little bit warmer than what we want to see in the next couple of days, but our highs today only getting up to upper 80s. That continues, plus some more rain chances in the forecast. I'll have those details coming up.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Oklahoma schools are working to deal with a recent change in state test scoring. This comes after the Oklahoma Department of Education changed its scoring method, but didn't announce the change. Some Oklahoma schools saw an increase in students' test scores, but the scores were misleading. Miami Schools says they don't know the exact reason for the new scoring methods.
We look at the performance index, which is the OPI. And so we compare students' test scores that way rather than by their proficiency or basic or below basic. That's how we look at it, because that's the true measure of growth is within their OPI scores.
The assistant superintendent of Miami Schools says they emphasize measuring success by preparing students for life after school. That's why they offer opportunities for leadership and internships. The Labette Center for Mental Health Services held its Green Zone event today in Parsons. The event provides opportunities for veterans reintegrating back into the community. The program addressed the strengths and challenges of the veteran populations, as well as providing community networking and information on employment, housing, and mental health.
And many people, indeed, they used media, video, entertainment to give themselves a perceived edge on what veterans are and how they feel and what they deal with. And in reality, the best way to get to know veterans is to coexist with them and to partner with them, just like anything else.
The event also featured a catered lunch. This was the 10th presentation of the Labette Community Green Zone event. A local greenhouse in Neosho says he had to spend more time and money to keep on top of things due to the constantly high temperatures this season. KOAM's Lonnie Walton has the story.
Daniel Mitchell from 4 States Greenhouse says the weather just hasn't been good for him or his crops this season.
It's been just a drought the entire month, right? You don't really get much rain. It's just the clouds aren't as thick as they used to be.
Due to the extra time and money spent on additional gear, he had to find work elsewhere.
We've done a couple landscaping jobs just to be able to pay for some of the stuff that we've been doing here. And I mean, of course, we're happy to do it, but you know, we're always running out of time because we're constantly busy.
Angela Harris from Alchemist Haven says these temperatures are bad for small businesses.
Small local farmers really struggle to have those things, especially when natural resources aren't there.
Angela says there are a few ways to keep your crops safe.
Make sure that you have proper runoff for your crops so you're not wasting water as they're being watered.
Reporting in Southwest Missouri, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
The greenhouse sells mums at shops across the area, including at Alchemist Haven in Joplin. Pittsburgh painted the town red today. It's all in anticipation of the Gorillas season opener tomorrow against Ferris State. Businesses all over town decorated their storefronts to show their Pitt State pride. And this evening, residents braved the rain to come out for a pep rally to cap off the week. We'll have more on tomorrow's game later in the show. John Dales and the rest of the sports team get ready to kick off a brand new season of Friday Night Football. That's coming up later in sports, but first.
Former President Donald Trump is facing backlash from some conservative groups following comments he made about abortion. I'm Natalie Brandt with what voters are saying.
Former President Donald Trump spoke to an important group tonight in his election bid. Conservative moms. The Republican presidential candidate is focusing more on his standing with women since polls show there are a big base of support for Democratic candidate Vice President Kamala Harris. Wendy Gillette has the latest.
Give it up for President Donald J. Trump.
Former President Donald Trump took part in a fireside chat at Moms for Liberty's annual national summit, a nonprofit group formed in 2021 that advocates for parental rights and removing transgender accommodations from schools.
Your kid goes to school and comes home a few days later with an operation. The school decides what's going to happen with your child.
The appearance comes as Trump faces criticism from some conservatives about his shifting stance on abortion. He made clear to Fox News he'll vote against a Florida amendment protecting abortion, though he says a 6-week ban is too restrictive.
Some of the states like Minnesota and other states have it where you could actually execute the baby after birth. And all of that stuff is unacceptable. So I'll be voting no for that reason.
Vice President Kamala Harris is also honing in on women's issues, launching a reproductive freedom bus tour that will make more than 50 stops before Election Day. She was off the campaign trail Friday after her first sit-down interview with running mate Minnesota Governor Tim Walz aired Thursday night on CNN, which touched on immigration.
I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced that address and deal with people who cross our border illegally.
Walz will attend the Minnesota State Fair on Sunday. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Fox News plans to air an interview with Trump over the weekend. Lindsay is next with your weekend forecast, and a little later, it's a big night for area football. John Dales takes us to the field for the latest edition of Friday Night Football in just a few minutes.
Well, it definitely got a little rainy there today. I know I got stuck out in the rain out in Pittsburgh, but right now downtown Joplin looking mostly clear. We are still dealing with the overcast conditions and a few isolated showers and thunderstorms still sticking around, hanging over the same areas just north of I-44. So we do have a couple of those flash flood warnings just south of Pittsburgh due to that rainstorm that just kind of sat over there for a couple of hours. But the rest of us looking good. So we're clearing out. As you can see, most of those storms are starting to dissipate, but we are going to see another round of isolated thunderstorms picking up in the early morning hours coming up. But as you can see, that rainstorm here near Columbus, just south of Pittsburgh, definitely dropped a lot of rainfall. So we are seeing that flash flood warning continuing for the night. But through the overnight hours, not expecting a ton of rainfall, maybe an isolated storm still or two, but then we move into the early morning hours to the early afternoon hours on Saturday. That risk kind of jumps, but it's very isolated, so we're not seeing those widespread showers like we saw most of today. And for the rest of the evening, looking good. We've got those isolated storms still continuing for the next hour or so, then starting to clear out, mostly cloudy until the morning hours. And then our overnight lows dropping down to the upper 60s. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the future track. By 11, we're mostly cleared out, but like I said, a couple more isolated storms starting to pop up as early as about 4 a.m. Same places, Columbus, south of Pittsburgh, near Parsons, Oswego. That storm's going to continue to strengthen by early morning hours, 6:30, and then more just widespread isolated showers continuing. But then again, by early afternoon, see a couple more just isolated spots of rainstorms popping up. Again, very isolated, but some of these could be like today where they just drop heavy amounts of rain on us. For the rest of the weekend though, because everything is so isolated, even though it does drop some downpour of rainfall, we're not getting a ton of accumulation, maybe 1/4 of an inch to 1/10 of an inch across some areas. But like I said, you can see, near Columbus, that's where we got the heavy rain, and south of Pittsburgh, we're gonna get some isolated spots with a little bit more accumulation than 1/10 or 1/4. For the rest of the weekend, after those storms on Saturday, a little bit warmer on Sunday, but great on Monday. Mostly cloudy for Monday, unfortunately, but it does keep those temperatures cooler during the daytime hours. That is Labor Day, so it's going to be nice. Sunday is going to be mostly sunny, but temperatures upper 80s, low 90s. And then next chance of rain isn't coming around until end of the week, next week. Thursday, isolated chances, and Friday, mostly scattered.
Well, thanks, Lindsay. We are getting out of here, and we're going to turn it over to the sports team. Friday night football action is straight ahead. Stay with us.
You're watching 4-State Friday Night, proudly sponsored by GN Bank, Crockett, Sticklin & Sticklin Law Firm, and Macco Builders.
Hey, and welcome into our 2024 edition of 4-States Friday Night. High school football is back in the 4 states. Missouri and Oklahoma kick off tonight. We get Kansas schools involved next week, but we start with our game of the week between a couple schools who look to be near the top of the new look Big 8. Mount Vernon at home to begin the 2024 season. The Mountaineers play host to Aurora, two teams hoping to compete for a conference title. First play of the season, Gavin Johnston drops back and fires. His pass is intercepted by Braden Allen. Aurora takes over on the first play. Mountaineer defense holds though. Later in the first, Johnston not afraid. He slings it deep. Coy Felton high points it, makes the catch over the defender. Later in the drive, check this out. Johnston, just before getting sacked, finds Felton again. He's able to get inside the red zone. Mountaineers on the doorstep. They finish the drive with a 3-yard touchdown rush, courtesy of Braden Dodson. Mount Vernon on top 7-0. Right before halftime, Mountaineers looking for more. Here's Johnston going for the end zone, but this is picked again by Aurora. Second of the game, this time it's Brody Seitz. Defensive battle throughout, but the Mountaineers only need that first touchdown. They hang on to win 7-6. Staying in the Big 8, Lamar coming off Class 2 state championship a year ago, and McDonald County went to the Class 4 state quarterfinals. That was the first time they've ever gotten that far. The Mustangs and Tigers meet tonight. Big 8 Conference, another battle. Defending state champions Lamar Tigers taking on the McDonald County Mustangs. We pick things up in the first quarter. Aiden Sheet takes the handoff on the sweep. He crosses into Mustang territory. He's going to take this one all the way inside the 10-yard line. A few plays later, Trent Torbuck calls his own number. He gets a block and he scores. First points of the game, Lamar leads 6-0 after a missed PAT. Very next play for the Mustangs, Anthony D'Amico's pass intercepted by TJ Ainsley. He's going to take this one back to the house for a pick 6. Lamar scores 2 touchdowns in back-to-back plays. Tigers up 12-0. We go to the second quarter. McDonald County's Ryder Martin takes his first snap of the game, and he's going to punch this one in for 6 points. Mustangs get on the board. Lamar still leads 12-7. Lots of scoring in the first half of this one. Lamar now in the red zone late in the second quarter. Here's Torbeck firing over the middle. Trey Pitzenbarger makes the catch for the touchdown. Lamar up 4 going into the half. McDonald County puts up a great fight, but Lamar comes away with the win. Tigers take it 32-29. We go to the Southwest Conference. Sarcoxie was 8-1 a year ago, but lost its first playoff game, so the Bears enter 2024 hungry and motivated. Sarcoxie kicks off its football season at home against the Skyline Tigers this evening. Senior Gatton Malott leads the Bears to a successful first half, scoring a 43-yard rushing touchdown to put them up by 6 against the Tigers. They lead 14-6 at the end of the first quarter. Carter King, though, for Skyline, he answers back with a 66-yard rushing touchdown of his own at the beginning of the second quarter. That brings the deficit down to just 2. Bears up 14-12. Then Noah Garrison and Gatlin Mallett lead the running game for the Bears. A majority of Sarcoxi's yards and touchdowns coming from the backfield. Bears lead 29-12 at the half. They go on to win 41-18. And as we head to break, we got a few more scores from throughout the area.
At GN Bank, we're your neighbor.
Hey, welcome back into 4 States Friday night. It's our first episode of the 2024 football season. I'm KOAM Sports Director John Dales. Let's go over to Oklahoma with Fairland, who started slow but finished strong in 2023. It's Hawaiian night in Fairland, Oklahoma. The Owls taking on the Chelsea Dragons. Chelsea would win the toss and elect to receive. First drive, Tanner Reed passes to Caleb Bates. That's an 18-yard pickup. It'll move the chains. We go ahead, 4th and 8. This pass is going to get thrown and picked off by Logan Sparks. Big play and a turnover caused by the Owls. They're in trouble, though, near their own red zone. Sparks airs this one out deep, and he throws it, but Blake Murray makes the catch. That's a big first down. Reed looking deep later on, and his pass to Ben Hagebush caught, and he scampers into the end zone for the touchdown. That's the first points of the game, 8-0 Chelsea. Sparks, though, responds back. He finds Darren Macy. He goes all the way to the 1-yard line. Then Sparks finishes it off, takes it himself into the end zone. Chelsea, though, responds in kind. Jake England shows off his agility, goes to the outside, he scores. Chelsea wins this one, 29-16. Well, back to Missouri. You used to know them as the College Heights Cougars. Now they're the New Heights Cougars, and they begin the 2024 season at home. It's New Heights against Rich Hill at Missouri Southern. Rich Hill starts the night by winning the coin toss and electing to receive. That leads to a touchdown, courtesy of senior Zane Becker for Rich Hill, but New Heights responds. This is junior Cannon Miller. He goes deep. That's a touchdown, except there's a flag on the play. That would come back. Second attempt, though, works just as well. Here's the senior Logan Decker. He takes it into the end zone himself for the touchdown. New Heights on the board. A fumble from Rich Hill would then allow New Heights to get the ball right back here. Cougars further their lead in the first quarter with another touchdown, this time courtesy of number 35, Caleb Hipple. He's a senior, and he gets on the board. New Heights continues its lead into the second quarter. A lot more scoring, several touchdowns by the Cougars, and eventually New Heights leads 60-16 at the half. They didn't let up in the second half. They go on to win 82-24. Now let's check out a couple of our local teams that are away from home tonight. We start with Webb City, who opens its season with a tough road contest. Webb City at Lebanon on the road. This game got delayed into an 8:50 start time, so it's still going on. Check this out. Lebanon looks to go deep early, but Andrew Young snags it out of the air. That's an interception for the Cardinals. Young with a nice half. More on him in a bit. Couple drives later, Cardinals on offense. Jackson Lucas shows off his arm. Joseph DeGraffenried catches the deep ball. Nobody near him. He's wondering where the nearest defender is. Cardinals take a 7-point lead. Yellow Jackets trying to keep it interesting, but check out this play. It's Young again, makes an insane play, takes the pitch straight from the quarterback. He takes it all the way the other way to the end zone, something you don't see every day. Cardinals lead 14-7 at halftime. That's where we are right now. Cardinals are back at home next week to take on Nixa. Meanwhile, Joplin on the road at Kickapoo. They won a playoff game there last year. Joplin falls behind 7-0 early. Shortly after, into Kickapoo territory, they have the ball loose, and That goes back to Kickapoo after the fumble. Ensuing drive, though, Kickapoo backed up by a penalty. Here comes pressure from the Eagles. Tries to throw that one away, but that's grounding. That's going to end up in a safety. Eagles on the board. They're down 7-2. Now they got all the momentum. Here's Daniel Rose at quarterback, buying time, lets it fly. Devin Thomas is on the other end of that one. Just like that, he reaches over the pylon. Eagles have the lead. And just before halftime, Rose again got all sorts of time, airs this one out. Beautiful dime, and it's caught by Collis Jones. He goes all the way to the end zone for the touchdown. Joplin would take it 30-7. Well, that's all the time we have for you on our first edition of 4 States Friday Night here in 2024. We hope you'll join us right again here next week and every week for the high school football season. As well, next week we have our first episode of Fox Press Box. That's at 11 o'clock on Fox 14. But for now, here's a look at some of the top plays of the night.